All right. Let me go ahead and share this. Wish I didn't have to do that every time. Let's see. In case anybody wants to hop on and study together, I'm going to share. This is for the benefit of all believers. It is a study, Bible study. If I get anything right, praise Yah, all Him. If I get anything wrong, that's me. So let's pray. Father, help guide us in your word. Help this study be fruitful and help it to bless others. And thank you for your Sabbath day. Thank you for sending your Son to die for us who were not worthy. In Yahushua's name, amen. Happy Sabbath, Luke, and trust Yah. So, all right. And anyone that's not watching this on the Sabbath, if you watch it later. But, so I've got the Dead Sea Scrolls pulled up here. So this is one of the, might not be the best translation of the scrolls, but it's the scrolls. So we can go Dead Sea Scrolls translation, Brenton Septuagint to fill in some of the gaps, because a lot of the scrolls attest to the Septuagint being the correct reading. Not that they have everything correct. In the Samaritan Pentateuch, the Dead Sea Scrolls attest to a lot of correct readings in this. So I've got the Isaiah Targum pulled up. I've got the Interlinear pulled up. Zoom in a little bit. Got the Thompson Septuagint pulled up. The Samaritan Pentateuch, Blue Letter Bible, KJV, and Text Critical New Testament. I may pull up some others. We'll see. So Isaiah chapter 11, a shoot will come out of the stock of Jesse, and a branch out of his roots will bear fruit. Bearing fruit, we know, Psalm 1. Let's pull it up here. So bearing fruit. Yep. Verse 2, but his delight is in the law of Yahuwah. That's Father's name. They removed it from the scriptures. And in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in its season. So fruit is law keeping. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. So there's fruit there. And Galatians, a lot of people will point to Galatians and say, there's the fruits of the Spirit. Well, the Spirit, the true Spirit, is keeping God's holy law. So if we live in the Spirit, let us walk in the Spirit. Do His commandments. Walking by man's commandments is not holy. Where's it at? I think it's Galatians 5. Peace, patience. Sometimes the KJV search function doesn't work too good. Galatians 5:22, but the fruit of the Spirit is, so the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith. Where's the Spirit come from? It comes from God. Where's the law come from? It comes from God. From Yahuwah. Meekness, temperance, against such there is no law. So why did he mention law in Galatians? Because it's valid. See, there's no law against these things, because the law is against sin. tells you what sin is. Romans 3:20, therefore by the deeds of the law shall there no flesh be justified in his sight. What deeds? Breaking the law, doing the stuff. See, by the law is the knowledge of sin. Well, if you know sin by the law, if you're doing the deeds of the law, you're doing sin, and you're not going to be justified in his sight. And you could go on and on and on and on and on. That's what Scripture says. That's what it teaches. It doesn't teach lawlessness. Romans 2:13, for not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified. So it just said you're justified by keeping the law. Those that say you're not justified by keeping the law is plain and simple. If you don't keep the law, you're an unbeliever. That's what Hebrews says. So there's fruit. So this was obviously the Messiah will bear fruit. He was the sinless lamb. He didn't break the law ever. So guess what? He had good fruit. Yahuwah's spirit will rest on him, the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and the fear of Yahuwah. Where do we see fear of Yahuwah? Keeping his commandments. Deuteronomy. His delight will be in the fear of Yahuwah. What did David say in Psalms 1? He delights in his law. He will not judge by the sight of his eyes, neither decide by the hearing of his ear. But with righteousness he will judge the poor, and will decide with equity for the humble of the earth. He will strike the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips he will kill the wicked. Happy Sabbath, Drew. Yep, exactly, Luke. Where's it at? Handy little search feature here to search the Apocrypha. So 2 Ezra 13:10, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And they were all mixed together, the blast of the fire, the flaming breath, the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude, the wicked, which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Afterwards saw I the same man come down from the mountain, and call unto him another peaceable multitude. See the multitude in Revelation? There came much people unto him, whereof some were glad, some were sorry, some of them were bound, and other some brought of them that were offered. Then was I sick through great fear, and I awaked and said, it's also is it flaming fire? I think it's flaming fire. Isaiah. 2 Thessalonians 1:8, in flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not God. How do you know him? 1 John, is it 2:4? Hereby we know that we know him if we keep his commandments, and that obey not the gospel of our Master Yahushua Messiah. No God. Let's see. Scriptural definitions only, not man's opinion. What does the word say? 2:4. Yep. So 1 John 2, hereby we know that we know him if we keep his commandments. He that saith, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments, is a liar, and the truth is not in him. Gospel. You go through. All right. So 1 Timothy 1:11. But we know that the law is good if a man use it lawfully. The law is good. If you use it, why would he say if you use it lawfully if it's done away with? He wouldn't. Knowing this, that the law is not made for a righteous man, but for lawless and disobedient, for the ungodly and the sinners, for the unholy and profane, for murderers of fathers and murderers of mothers, for manslayers, for whoremongers, for them that defile themselves with mankind, for men stealers, for liars, for perjured persons, and if there be any other thing that is contrary to sound doctrine. So anything against the law is contrary to sound doctrine. And it's made so you know what sin is. What did he say in the other passage? By the law is the knowledge of sin, according to the glorious gospel. So guess what? He just equated the law with the glorious gospel of the blessed God, which was committed to my trust. That simple. And I thank Messiah Yahusha, our master, who hath enabled me, for that he counted me faithful, putting me into the ministry, who was before a blasphemer and a persecutor and injurious, but I obtained mercy because I did it ignorantly and unbelief. And the grace of our master was exceeding abundant with faith and love which is in Messiah Yahusha. And it's also in Isaiah. Was it Isaiah 66? The flame of fire. We have excellent tools at our disposal to connect the word these days. Fire. Sometimes finding it's hard. It's Isaiah. I'm just going to go here. Isaiah 64:2, as when the melting fire burneth, the fire causeth the waters to boil, to make thy name known to thine adversaries, that the nations may tremble at thy presence. When did they see his presence? When he comes back. So Isaiah 66, for behold, Yahuwah will come with fire, and his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. What do you rebuke with? Your mouth. For by fire and by sword will Yahuwah plead with all flesh, and the slain of Yahuwah shall be many. And he goes on to list some that are going to be slain, those that eat swine's flesh. Hint, hint. So righteousness will be the belt of his waist, and faithfulness the belt of his waist. Righteousness, law keeping, faithfulness, keeping his law. The wolf will live with the lamb, and the leper will lie down with the young goat. The calf, the young lion, and the fattened calf together, and a little child will lead them. Does this happen now? No, it doesn't. It will happen. The cow and the bear will graze. Their young ones will lie down together. The lion will eat straw like the ox. The nursing child will play near a cobra's hole, and the weaned child will put his hand on the viper's den. They will not hurt nor destroy in my holy mountain, so New Jerusalem. For all the earth will be full of the knowledge of Yahuwah as the waters cover the sea. What's the knowledge of Yahuwah? I know I go over this stuff over and over and over again, but some people don't know to use Scripture as their dictionary. They use man as their dictionary, and then they read Scripture with a pre-opinion of it. Hosea 4:6, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. Okay, they rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God. I will also forget thy children. So this forgotten the law of thy God equates to them rejecting knowledge and having a lack of knowledge. See? His law, knowledge. Romans 1:28, even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient. Yeah, 2 Peter 1:2, grace and peace be multiplied unto you through the knowledge of God and of Yahushua our Messiah, or our Master. You don't have one without the other. Colossians 1:10, that you may walk worthy of Yahuwah unto all pleasing, being fruitful, there's that fruitful again, in every good work, and increasing in the knowledge of God, his law. Okay. The earth will be full of the knowledge of Yahuwah, and you go to, is that also, say it too. And many people shall go and say, come ye and let us go up to the mountain of Yahuwah, the mountain, New Jerusalem, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in its paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of Yahuwah from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Does that happen now? No. Future prophecy. All nations are going to go up to learn the law. So here, the previous verse I didn't read, that all nations shall flow into it, right there. There's your key. The earth will be full of the knowledge of Yahuwah, because all the nations are flowing into it and learning it. Malachi 4. No, is it Malachi 4? Maybe 3. Paste. Micah, my bad. Micah 4:2, many nations shall come and say, come, let us go up to the mountain of Yahuwah and to the house of the Elohim of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth from Zion, and the word of Yahuwah from Jerusalem. It will happen in that day that the nations will seek the root of Jesse, the Messiah, who stands as a banner of the peoples, and his resting place will be glorious. Pretty sure. Matthew 25:34, then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. Enter his rest. Book of Life. It will happen in that day that Yahuwah will set his hand again, the second time, to recover the remnant that is left of his people from Assyria. from Egypt, from Pathros, from Cush, from Elam, from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. So it tells you where the Israelites come back from. He will set up a banner for the nations, and he will assemble the outcast of Israel. That's where they come from. And gather together the dispersed of Yehuda from the corners of the earth. Now, we already established this hasn't happened yet. The wolf will lie with the lamb. He will set up, gather from forward. The envy also of Ephraim will depart, and those who persecute Yehuda will be cut off. Ephraim won't envy Yehuda, and Yehuda won't persecute Ephraim. They will fly down on the shoulders of the Philistines on the west. Together they will plunder the children of the east. They will extend their power over Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon will obey them. Yahuwah will utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea, and with a scorching wind he will wave his hands over the river, and will split it into 7 streams, and cause men to march over in sandals. Second Exodus. There will be a highway for the remnant that is left of his people from Assyria, like there was for Israel in the day that he came up out of the land of Egypt. That's the first time. This is the second time. 16. Mm-hmm. 16. Where it says, if you love me, you should guard my commands. Yep. A lot will say that's just Messiah when he says, if you love me, guard my commands. But we know what he's talking about. Yep. Whole duty of man. Psalm 119. Yep. That is correct. 19. I need to pull up another tab here. Like I don't have enough. So I don't have to go to the KJV for everything. Psalms 119. So sometimes there are some seriously different readings in the KJV. 98 through 100. So I got 99 on this scroll. I have more understanding than all my teachers, for your testimonies are my meditation. I understand more than the age because I've kept your precepts. Go back. No. Yeah, no 98 there. All right, so, yep, second Exodus. There's a lot that ties into that too. Isaiah 12, in that day you will say, I will give thanks to you, Yahuwah, for though you were angry with me, your anger has turned away, and you comfort me. Behold, God, or Elohim is my salvation. I will trust and will not be afraid, for Yahuwah is my strength and song, and he has become my salvation. Therefore, with joy you will draw water out of the wells of salvation. In that day you will say, give thanks to Yahuwah, call on his name, declare his doings among the peoples, proclaim that his name is exalted, sing to Yahuwah, for he has done excellent things. Let this be known in all the earth. Cry aloud and shout, trumpet, you inhabitant of the daughter of Zion, New Jerusalem, for the Holy One of Israel is great among you. 6. So 6. Yep. 11, 6. 12, 6. All right, so a short chapter. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amoz saw, set up a banner on the bare mountain. Lift up your voice to them. Wave your hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my consecrated ones. Yes, I have called my mighty men for my anger, even my proudly exalted ones. The noise of a multitude is in the mountains, as of a great people. The noise of an uproar of the kingdoms of the nations gathered together. When does that happen? When does he gather the nations together? At his return. Yahuwah of armies is mustering the army for battle. They come from a far country, from the uttermost part of heaven, even Yahuwah and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Well, for the day of Yahuwah is at hand. It will come as destruction from the Almighty. Therefore all hands will be feeble, and everyone's heart will melt. They will be dismayed. Pangs and sorrows will seize them. Woman in travail. They will be in pain like a woman in labor. They will look in amazement one at another, and their faces will be faces of flame. Behold, the day of Yahuwah comes, cruel with wrath and fierce anger, to make the land a desolation and to destroy its sinners out of it. For the stars of the sky and its constellations will not give their light. The sun will be darkened in its going out, and the moon will not cause its light to shine. Let's see here. See, Mark 13:24. But in those days after the tribulation, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. The stars of heaven shall fall, and the powers that are in heaven shall be shaken. Then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory. So it looks like that's the tribulation point there. Then the Messiah comes. Then shall he send his holy ones, and shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from the uttermost part of the earth to the uttermost part of heaven. So he seals the elect in Revelation so that they don't get hurt, because he says, hurt not till they're sealed. And then the tribulation breaks out. The elect are protected. Tribulation. Then he returns. Joel 3 ties in also. The sun, 15th, the sun and the moon will be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Yahuwah also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But Yahuwah will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. Why does Israel keep popping back up? Because they're in Revelation. They're sealed. Israel. So shall you know that I am Yahuwah, your Elohim, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her any more. And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop down new wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the rivers of Yehudah shall flow with waters, and the fountains shall come forth of the house of Yahuwah, and shall water the valley of Shittim. Let's see. Chapter. Okay, that starts Amos. That's interesting. Yep, same thing in Matthew 24:29. Interesting here. The sun and the air were darkened in Revelation. Sun was smitten, third part of the moon, third part of the stars. Revelation 8:12. I beheld and heard a holy one flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three holy ones which are yet to sound. Second Esdras. says 2 Ezra 15, he will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me. Sun will be darkened, the moon will not cause its light to shine. I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity, lawlessness. I will cause the arrogance of the proud to cease, and will humble the arrogance of the terrible. That's also in Isaiah 24. Let's go back over here. Isaiah 24. So you notice the buyer and the seller here. Remember the parable of the wise virgins and the foolish virgins? Go ye to buy. The earth mourns and fades away. The world languishes and fades away. The lofty people of the earth languish. The earth also is polluted under its inhabitants because they have transgressed the laws, violated the statutes, and broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore the curse has devoured, and those who dwell therein are found guilty. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are what? Burned, and few men are left. I will make people more rare than fine gold, even a person than the pure gold of Ophir. It's very important to know what that is. If you go to it'll help your understanding of Scripture. It is, where's it at? And I'm not saying everything they have is right, but this right here is good stuff. OphirInstitute.com. Solomon's Gold. You can watch the playlist. They've also got, go to home. They have all the, not all, but a lot of the ancient maps that show that people knew that the Philippines was the Garden of Eden, the land of Ophir. Read the book. Solomon's Treasure, right there. Why is it Solomon's Treasure? Because the Queen of Sheba from Ophir brought Solomon treasure. Therefore I will make the heavens tremble, and the earth will be shaken out of its place in Yahuwah of armies' wrath, and in the day of its fierce anger. And they will be like a hunting gazelle, and like sheep that no one gathers. They will each turn to their own people, and will each flee to their own land. Everyone who is found will be thrust through. Everyone who is captured will fall by the sword. Appointed. Captivity. Interesting. Revelation 13:10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience of and faith of the saints. Yeah, I'm not sure where that's at, but I'm sure it's in there. All right. Their infants also will be dashed in pieces before their eyes, and their houses will be ransacked, and their wives raped. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, who will not value silver, and as for gold, they will not delight in it. Their bows will dash the young men in pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb, and their eyes will not spare children. Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldeans' pride, will be like when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It will never be inhabited. Interesting, here he uses Sodom and Gomorrah. Deuteronomy 32:32, for their vine is the vine of Sodom, and their fields the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of gall, and their clusters are bitter. There we go. Matthew 11:24, but I say unto you that it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom in the day of judgment than for thee. Why does he mention the day of judgment there? Capernaum. Yep, he's talking about Capernaum and Chorazin. Those are in Jerusalem. Well, not Jerusalem, but in Israel. And Luke 10. Say unto you that it shall be more tolerable in that day. What day? The day of judgment for Sodom than for that city. Woe unto thee, Chorazin. Woe unto thee, Bethsaida. For the mighty works have been done in Tyre and Sidon, which have been done in you. They had a great while ago repented, sitting in sackcloth and ashes. But it shall be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon at the judgment than for you. And thou, Capernaum, which art exalted to heaven, shall be thrust down to Sheol. Ezekiel 16, for thy sister Sodom was not mentioned by thy mouth in the day of thy pride. Call Sodom her sister. So Exodus 16, when I shall bring again their captivity, the captivity of Sodom and her daughters, captivity of Samaria and her daughters, then will I bring again the captivity of thy captives in the midst of them. Let me go look at that. 1656. Thine elder sister is Samaria. So he's talking about Judea, southern kingdom. Before thy wickedness was discovered, as at the time of thy reproach of the daughters of Syria, and all that are round about her, the daughters of the Philistines, which despise thee round about. Thou hast borne thy lewdness and thy abomination, saith Yahuwah. For thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, I'll even deal with thee as thou hast done, which hast despised the oath in breaking the covenant. Why does he have a problem with them breaking a covenant? Nevertheless, I'll remember my covenant with thee in the days of thy youth, and I will establish unto thee an everlasting covenant. Then thou shalt remember thy ways and be ashamed when thou shalt receive thy sisters, thine elder and thy younger, and I will give them unto thee for daughters, but not by thy covenant. And I will establish my covenant with thee, and thou shalt know that I am Yahuwah, that thou mayest remember and be confounded, and never open thy mouth any more because of thy shame, when I am pacified toward thee for all that thou hast done. It will never be inhabited, neither will it be lived in from generation to generation. The Arabian will not pitch a tent there, neither will shepherds make their flocks lie down there. And this is well after the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah. But wild animals of the desert will lie there, and their houses will be full of jackals. Ostriches will dwell there, and wild goats will frolic there. Wolves will cry in their fortresses, and jackals in the pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days will not be prolonged. Her days not prolonged. More delay. And all right. No. Revelation 10:6, and swear by him that liveth forever and ever, who created heaven and the things that are therein are, and the earth and the things that therein are, and the sea and the things which are therein, that there should be no time no longer, or no longer delay. Revelation 10:6. So important to compare translations. So we go to Revelation 10:6, and we know who created all these things, the Messiah. All right. Time no longer. Let's go back out. ESV here has no more delay. Her days will not be prolonged. Her time is near to come. 22. Yeah, I'm sure that this means something here too. So does follow. Yep. Praise Yah. Isaiah 14. Let's see, we go to 13 here. For Yahuwah will have compassion on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. So, second Exodus. The foreigner will join himself with them, so the strangers can be grafted in, and they will unite with the house of Jacob. Many peoples will take them and bring them to their ground and to their place. The house of Israel will possess them in Yahuwah's land for servants and for handmaids. They will take as captives those whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. What do you say when you keep my covenant? Deuteronomy 28. Let me go over here. Yahuwah will cause your enemies who rise up against you to be struck before you. They will come out against you one way and will flee before you 7 ways. Yahuwah will command the blessing on you in your barns and all that you put your hand to. He will bless you in the land which Yahuwah your Elohim gives you. Yahuwah will establish you for a holy people to himself, as he has sworn to you. If you shall keep the commandments of Yahuwah your Elohim and walk in his ways, all the peoples of the earth shall see that you are called by Yahuwah's name, and they will be afraid of you. Yahuwah will grant you abundant prosperity in the fruit of your body, in the fruit of your livestock, in the fruit of your ground, in the land which Yahuwah swore to your fathers to give you. Yahuwah will open to you his good treasure in the sky, to give you the rain of your land in its season, and to bless all the work of your hand. You will lend to many nations, and you will not borrow. Yahuwah will make you the head and not the tail. You will be above only, and you will not be beneath. If you listen to the commandments of Yahuwah your Elohim, which I command you today, to observe and to do. So his covenant still stands, and his covenant promises still stand. It will happen in that day that Yahuwah will give you rest from your sorrow, from your trouble, and from the hard service in which you were made to serve, that you will take up this parable against the king of Babylon and say, how the oppressor has ceased, the golden city has ceased. Yahuwah has broken the staff of the wicked, the scepter of the rulers, who struck the peoples in wrath with a continual stroke, who ruled the nations in anger with a persecution no one restrained. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break out in song. So some might read this and say, oh, he's talking about Babylon. Well, you got Babylon that is, where's it at? You got the golden city. It's very clear that Babylon in Revelation is Jerusalem. Where's it at? #1. So right here, New Jerusalem, the city was pure gold, like unto clear glass. Right there. Pure gold. Golden city. Whole earth is at rest and is quiet. And Jerusalem on earth was a copy of the heavenly Jerusalem. Imagine how that would look. Earth is at rest. What's that, Zechariah? Yep, Zechariah 1:11. And they answered the angel of Yahuwah that stood among the myrtle trees and said, we have walked to and fro through the earth. Who walks to and fro through the earth? Satan walks to and fro through the earth, but what do the other angels do? They walk to and fro through the earth also. And behold, all the earth sitteth still and is at rest. Silence. Let's see. Yep. Revelation 8:1, and when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of a half an hour. Go. It says silence. G4602. Sigay. Silence also. Yeah. Anyways, they break out in song. Where's that at? It's Revelation. No, not Song of Solomon. There we go. Revelation 14:3, and they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,000, which were redeemed from the earth. And Also, yeah, I'm pretty sure David in some of these passages, he's talking about the exact same thing. I will sing a new song unto thee. Sing unto Yahuwah a new song and praise from the end of the earth. The isles, read about that earlier. So Revelation 5:9, they sung a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to Elohim by thy blood out of every kindred, tongue, people, and nation, foreigners as well as Israelites. So, yes, the cypress trees rejoice with you, with the cedars of Lebanon, saying, Since you are humbled, no lumberjack has come up against us. Sheol from beneath has removed for you to meet you at your coming. It stirs up the departed spirits for you, even all the rulers of the earth. It has raised up their thrones, all the kings of the nations. They will answer at his coming. The resurrection happens at his coming. So the departed spirits, those who rest on the earth, they all will answer and ask you, Have you also become as weak as we are? And have you become like us? Your pomp is brought down to Sheol. With the sound of your stringed instrument, maggots are spread out under you, and worms cover you. This is talking about the Satan right here. How have you fallen from the heavens, shining one, son of the dawn? How you are cut down to the ground, who laid the nation low? Not nations. Nation. What nation? You said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Elohim. I will sit on the mountain of assembly in the far north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. Yet you shall be brought down to Sheol, to the depths of the pit. Those who see you will stare at you. They will ponder you, saying, Is this the man who made the earth to tremble, who shook kingdoms, who made the world like a wilderness and overthrew its cities, who didn't release his prisoners to their home? All the kings of the nations sleep in glory in his house, but you are cast away from your tomb like an abominable branch, clothed with the slain, who are thrust through with the sword, who go down to the stones of the pit, like a dead body trodden underfoot. You will not join them in burial, because you have destroyed your land. You have killed your people. The offspring of evildoers will not be named forever. Prepare for slaughter of his children because of the iniquity of their fathers, that they not rise up and possess the earth and fill the surface of the world with cities. I will rise up against them, says Yahuwah of armies, and cut off from Babylon name and remnant, and son's son, says Yahuwah. I will also make it a possession for the porcupine and pools of water. I will sweep it with the broom of destruction, says Yahuwah of armies. Yahuwah of armies has sworn, saying, Surely as I have thought, so shall it happen. As I have purposed, so shall it stand. That I will break the Assyrian in my land, the Assyrian in his land, Assyrian, and tread him underfoot on my mountains. Then his yoke will leave them, and his burden leave their shoulders. This is the plan that is determined for the whole earth. This is the hand that is stretched out over all the nations. For Yahuwah of armies has planned, and who can stop it? His hands are stretched out, and who can turn them back? This burden was in the year that King Ahaz died. Don't rejoice, O Philistia, all of you, because the rod that struck you is broken. For out of the serpent's root an adder will emerge, and his fruit will be a fiery flying serpent. The firstborn of the poor will eat, and the needy will lie down in safety, and I will kill your root with famine, and your remnant I will kill. Howl gate, cry city, you are melted away, Philistia, all of you. For smoke comes out of the north, and there is no straggler in his ranks. What will they answer that the messengers of the nation? That Yahuwah has founded Zion, and in him the afflicted of his people will take refuge. That's when he returns. Yahuwah has founded Zion and comes out of the north. What did Satan say? I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit on the mountain of assembly in the far north. Where's God at? In the north. For smoke comes out of the north, and there is no straggler in his ranks. Melted away. 32. Let's see. Saved. Yep. Yep. So Isaiah 15, the burden of Moab, for in a night Ar of Moab is laid waste and brought to nothing. For in a night Kir of Moab is laid waste and brought to nothing. They have gone up to Baeth and to Dibon, to the high places, to weep. Moab wails over Nebo and over Medeba. Baldness is on all their heads. Every beard is cut off. In their streets they clothe themselves in sackcloth. In their streets and on their housetops everyone wails, weeping abundantly. Heshbon cries out with Elali. Their voice is heard even to Yahaz. Therefore the armed men of Moab cry aloud. Their souls tremble within them. My heart cries out for Moab. Her nobles flee to Zoar. Interesting, that's in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Pharaoh Zoar, that's in Egypt. To Eglath Shalishiyah, for they go up by the ascent of Luhith with weeping, for on the way to Horonaim they rise up a cry of destruction, for the waters of Nimrim will be desolate, for the grass has withered away, the tender grass fails, there is no green thing. Therefore they will carry away the abundance they have gotten, and that which they have stored up over the brook of the willows. For the cry has gone around the borders of Moab, it's welling to Eglam, and it's welling to Beer Elim. For the waters of Damon are full of blood, for I will bring yet more on Damon, a line on those of Moab who escape, and on the remnant of the land. Remnant of the land. There's some that'll still make it. 9. So 2 things that stood out to me there. Full of blood and no green thing. Tender grass fails, no green thing. Revelation 9:4, and it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. And waters of Damon are full of blood. Not sure where Damon's at. That was one of the plagues of Egypt. Waters turned to blood, and also when the 2 witnesses are here, then they turn to blood too. Turn to blood. Acts 2:20, sun be turned into darkness and moon into blood. Same as Joel. We've seen a lot of those signs recently. Where's it at in Revelation? Yep. So Revelation 11:6, these have power to shut heaven that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over the waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. Okay. Very interesting. Let's see. 15. Septuagint's got, "For I will bring Arabians upon Damon, and I will take away the seed of Moab and Ariel and the remnant of Adamah." Jerusalem is considered Ariel, I think in the Psalms. Yeah. Okay. I think I'll stop it there. Keep it about an hour. So that'd be good. All right. Well, hope that was a blessing and helpful to y'all. Need a different shirt. So hope to